Hi, I'm Angelique Lamore, and I'm an author, and I live in Los Angeles, California. It's interesting because I'm sitting here and I'm looking out at my backyard right now, and that's exactly what I was doing when I was on the phone with my doctor, and he told me that I had cancer. I had spent 3 months trying to get to the bottom of why I had a lump in my breast that was the size of a golf ball, and we finally knew for sure. And that set me on a course of events that I didn't have. I had a certain amount of say in, but not a lot of say in. And I went through my double mastectomy and chemo and all of that. I got done with cancer treatment as all the chemo, and I did Herceptin for a year. So I was in the chair for a year, and but my stomach wasn't okay. And I talked to my oncologist and I said, I need a doctor who's going to know what we've just done to my body and who's going to get me well and who's going to pay attention to my future. I need that kind of doctor. And I tried a couple of different people. And then finally, my oncologist said, I think you should go meet Nalini Chilkov. And I said, who's Nalini Chilkov? And she said, she's a complementary medicine doctor, and she's an acupuncturist, and she's this, brilliant woman, and she's going to change your life. And I had planned this whole trip to Ireland, and I'd bought the tickets, and I'd made all the reservations. And then I woke up one morning and thought, what have I just done? I've just made this huge plan for this 3-week trip to Ireland with my 2 little girls and my husband, and I can't leave the house in the morning if I eat anything. So when I first met Nalini, I didn't like her. I love her now, but she told me all these things I was supposed to do, and they involved don't eat any gluten, don't eat any dairy, don't eat any sugar, because we have to heal your body and we have to take you from this inflammatory system that chemo set up in me to this anti-inflammatory system. And I was like, okay, I'm like inside my head going, I don't like you very much. And she could see it in my face, and she said, give me 3 weeks. And because we had this trip planned, and I had 2 months before the trip planned, and I was like, how am I going to go anywhere? How am I going to get on a plane for 11 hours if I can't eat without ending up running to the bathroom, because my GI system was all screwed up. So I gave her 3 weeks. And after 3 days, my entire life was changed. And I could eat before I drove the kids to school, and I could, everything changed. Working with Nalini and her OutSmart cancer system changed my whole life. I had been somebody who had allergies my whole life, and I had gotten every cold that ever walked by me, and I had all sorts of other issues. And chemo was a great reset for me because it kind of destroyed my immune system and then let me build it back up. And I built it back up with her. I don't get everything that walks by me anymore. The inflammation in my body is either at a low ebb or not there. I don't know how to judge that, except that I feel good and I have energy. Nobody else in the family wants to give up bread or cheese, but but I did. And I don't miss it. It's that question of if you're going to give up certain things, if you're going to take certain supplements, and you're going to change this life and the way you look at things, is it better than? And I got to say, there isn't anything that I miss eating that would be better than how good I feel every day. I'm healthier now than I was before I had cancer. My daughters were 7 and 11 when I was diagnosed with cancer, and I wanted to be here. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to be free to do everything with them. They're now almost 21 and 25. And it's 13 years have gone by, and I have been at graduations, and I'm going to my daughter's oldest friend's wedding soon. And I've gotten to go be here for all these milestones. So do I miss sugar? Do I miss dairy? Not really, because I realized what it was doing to my body when I stopped it. And then every once in a while I get some by mistake or in a sauce or whatever, and I don't feel good. And so my goal is to feel good and to have energy and to be physically fit and physically active. And I want to be a grandmother, and I'm looking forward to being a great grandmother. And I do not want my kids having children in their 20s. So I'm hoping, and my plan is to be here. And she's a large part of that. I don't take any supplements that she doesn't tell me I should or okay. That's the one thing that I think is really great, is that you get a system for your overall health. And yes, it is outsmarting cancer, but it is your overall health. I was open-minded to her and her ideas, but it still was an adjustment period for me. And I had a conversation with my brother who said, I just wish doctors, when they told you you had to stop eating something, would tell you when you got to start eating it again. And I looked at him and I said, do you need to start eating it again? Or do you want to feel good? Because it obviously was something that wrecked your system. I have things that wrecked my system. They do not work for me. Dairy does not work for me. It all comes back to, how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? Do you want to feel good? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to feel good? Are you willing to try something for 3 weeks that will probably work within 3 days? You know, that's really the bottom line.